Now, today is World Against Child Labour Day, and child labour affects millions of children around the world by depriving them of their childhood education and fundamental human rights. Roisin Drain is Senior Engagement and Marketing Manager of World Vision Ireland. Roisin, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Declan. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Give us an overview then.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not aware of what child labour actually is, so it's the exploitation of children who are either too young to work or engaged in work that compromises their physical, mental, social or educational development. And today, as you mentioned, is World Day Against Child Labour. It's observed every June 12th. And it's really intended as a way to kind of highlight the plight of these children and to support the worldwide movement against child labour. Today is actually the 25th anniversary of the International Labour Organization's Convention number 182. And what that actually is, it was the convention that demanded that hazardous and morally damaging labour practices be immediately eliminated. And that was 25 years ago. Actually, in the last number of years, we've seen a resurgence in the number of children involved in child labour. For nearly 2 decades, since 2000, we had been making that steady progress. But in recent years, we've seen, increases in the number of conflicts and crisis. And then specifically the COVID-19 pandemic has actually plunged more and more families into poverty and as a result forced millions more children into child labour. So just that overwhelming number of children who are involved and put at risk by child labour is really a cause for alarm, and it's a reminder that there was an ambition 25 years ago and we're actually quite far from seeing that become a reality.
I was listening to you there and I was thinking points ahead, and you seem to be saying a lot of things I was going to ask you about this. There'll be a disparity in the world between rich and poor, and that seems to be accentuating at the moment. But you will find, I'm sure, in parts of the world where they are poor, and it's necessary for young people, very young people who should be maybe at school or enjoying life as children, to contribute to the household income, because that's what they do, is either that or starve. So, how do we tackle that? I mean
that's a really great question. I think when you look at it, child labour can't really be tackled as a family issue. It's a societal, cultural and human rights issue. Basically, child labour is denying children their most basic rights, and that is the right to protection, freedom from exploitation, and their right to, having access to education. And, several byproducts of child labour is actually what causes it to continue in this perpetual cycle. Currently, at the moment, there's such a global demand for cheaply produced products, which means that more and more children are being employed because, simply put, they're cheaper labour. And that means that it's excluding adults from finding employment. So if we outlaw child labour and actually put that into practice, it means that more adults will be able to find that employment, which means their children won't have to, be put into that child labour.
Enforcement?
Yes. Throughout the world, there is legislation that exists that makes that exploitation of children illegal. However, all too often, the monitoring component of those legal frameworks is weak, or it doesn't exist in some parts of the world. And the financial and political will to improve them has actually not really materialised. So, it's a huge issue, but there are ways that we can make a difference, even on a personal level.
Good to highlight it today. Thanks very much indeed, Roisin.
No worries.
Good morning to you. Thank you.